Hello, welcome to another writing skill video. Today we'll be looking at commas again, but this time in relation to introductory phrases. These are the transitional phrases that often start your sentence and help you transition from one idea to the next. So first of all, what exactly is an introductory phrase? Well, a lot like the words introductory suggests, it's the beginning part of the sentence that helps transition into the main clause. Not used always, but very often to begin a sentence. And it often helps to establish time or something about the situation related to the action. They actually are more about the verb than they are about the subject, even though they appear at the beginning of the sentence. And actually they are brought up from the predicate part of the sentence, and that's a good way to test whether or not you need a comma for any kind of phrase or a group of words that begin a sentence, okay? And might help you distinguish them from other kind of words that might start a sentence. Okay, so let's look at some examples of these. Whenever I go to the beach, comma, I bring an umbrella and a huge bottle of sunscreen. So this is an example of one that establishes time, like a lot of them do. And notice too that it's talking about when the action happens. So really, as I said before, those phrases come from the end of the sentence. They come from the predicate part of the sentence, the verb part of the sentence. So a good way to test whether or not you need a comma at the end of a group of words that start your sentence is to go ahead and place it at the end and see if it works there, because then you know you have an adverbial phrase that's been transplanted up to the beginning of the sentence. So let's try that out here. I bring an umbrella and a huge bottle of sunscreen whenever I go to the beach. That would work, right? And you wouldn't use a comma, by the way, when it's in the end of the sentence, because that's where it belongs. But if you've brought it up to serve as an intro phrase, then you do need that comma, okay? So here's another similar example. When I scuba dove in Hawaii, comma, I saw 3 different species of ray. So again, it's establishing time when the action happened. So it's really part of the predicate of the sentence. We can test that out by placing it at the end and seeing if it makes sense. I saw 3 different species of ray when I scuba dove in Hawaii. That works, right? So you've brought it up to the beginning of the sentence and you do need that comma. Okay, in 1963, the entire nation mourned the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Now, this is one that you'll often see dropped in professional writing, so some publications may prefer to drop simple cases like this, but it's actually the same situation as before, where we're establishing time and we're bringing it up from the end of the sentence. So technically speaking, in the style manuals that you'll use in your college papers, you do need the comma after the date there. So in 1963, comma, the entire nation mourned the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, okay? So anything that establishes time like that, you know it's probably an introductory phrase. But it may not be time. It can establish other kinds of situations too. So here's an example of that. Without any consideration for others in the theater, comma, the lady answered her cell phone and carried on a conversation. So it's not establishing time, but it is establishing something about how the action occurred. It is still adverbial. And we can test that out by, like before, bringing it to the end of the sentence and seeing if it works. So the lady answered her cell phone and carried on a conversation without any consideration for others in the theater. That works, right? So you know you have an intro phrase that's been brought up from the predicate, okay? And you always need the comma in that case, okay? But remember, no comma if it's appearing at the end of the sentence. Okay, now here's another one, similar kind of thing where it's establishing something about the situation of the verb. So now that I have voted for the first time, comma, I feel like a real adult. So the same thing here. It's telling you something about when and how the action happened, and it's being used as an introductory phrase, in which case you do need the commas. Okay, so don't forget your introductory phrase commas at the beginning of your sentences. Okay, so if you need more help with that or commas in general, please do consult the Yavapai College Rough Riders Guide. Section 9, Chapter 43 has more detail about commas, so take a look at that. And also if you need more help with it, if it keeps coming up as a problem in your paper, you can go ahead and visit the Learning Center and get some tutoring on that specific issue. Just mention that that's what you'd like to work on, and they would be glad to help you. Or, of course, you can contact your instructor, you can email your instructor, or perhaps visit their office hours to get more information or more direct help with your intro commas or any other kind of commas or any other grammatical issues. Okay? So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in our next episode of Writing Skill Videos.